Hi, Gene Burnett from GeneBurnett.com. I thought I would share a little something with you that I've been doing quite a bit of lately, and that is some really basic Bagua footwork and circling drills, both a figure eight and then just walking regular circles. Now I learned a series of circle walking palm positions to walk and hold, and I learned a version of the 8 palm changes of one Bagua system. And I don't even want to mention the name of it because it doesn't matter. I'm doing a kind of a Tai Chi inflected version of what I was taught, adapted and suited to my training goals and helping the people that I'm working with, who are often working with balance issues and are often older than I am, and I'm 68. So these, so that's I'm sharing this as a way to share my experience and to see if maybe it's useful to you and you might want to try it. This is not representing any particular system or dogma or Bible or anything. So so one thing I really like about the circle walking is that I can walk and stay indoors. I live in Southern Oregon. It's in the summertime. Sometimes it really gets hot, like 105, 6, 7, 8, whatever. I'm getting older, and that's a little harder on me. Also, we get smoke. Sometimes it's smoky. Also, it is still the Pacific Northwest, so we still get rainy periods. And also, sometimes it's the middle of the night, and I just don't feel like going out for a walk in the middle of the night. So this is a way to go for a walk and stay inside. Now, we have a little movement studio room over there, other side of the house, that I teach in and have more space. It's not huge, but it's bigger than this little office, but this is where my camera is. So I usually use a hula hoop, about I don't know, it's bigger than a 3-footer. It's about, I don't know, maybe 4 feet, close to 4 feet, maybe 40 some inches diameter, and I put that on the ground. I either put 2 of them, I have 2 of those, and I walk a figure 8 around the 2 hoops, or I just walk around 1 hoop and just work on the circling. So my 5 little rules of circling, and this is just one way to do this. There are many others and different stepping patterns. There's different types of steps. This is the one that suits me. Some people really like to step with their toe first when they walk in Bagua. Some people like to step super slow, where every step is like you're pulling your foot out of mud before you take the next one. The step that I like to do is called a rolling step, and if you punctuate it a little bit more, I believe it's called a chicken step, which is entertaining to me because we have chickens this year. This year we got chickens, and it's fun to watch them and think of them doing Bagua because the footwork is similar to a chicken walk. So the rolling step is like your foot is massaging the ground like that. So when my foot comes down, the other one's already lifted, and it rolls on the ground. So it's like you're rolling from heel to toe like that, and one step leads directly to the next, so your momentum is actually just a little bit in the future. You're not staying directly over your center so that you can put the brakes on instantly. It's not that kind of walk. It is a forward moving walk, right? So my little rules, if I was gonna, let's see if I can do this in this small space. I'm gonna put that right there. So I'm gonna walk around. Oh, you can't even see it. That doesn't work. Let's put it over here. There. I'll try to see if I can walk around that. So I have an object in the center that is a circular object in this case. So the first thing I think of when I'm walking is that I'm the same distance from that center as I walk around this circle. So as I walk around that thing, I'm the same distance from the center as much as I can. So if I wobble a little bit and travel out of the circle, I just bring it back in. Just trying to stay the same distance from the center. So sometimes it's helpful to point down there. And one thing you'll discover very, very quickly is that when you're walking a circle like this, you will get dizzy. You'll get a little bit dizzy. So I'm going to get, I'm kind of out of frame a little bit. You'll get a little bit dizzy. So I recommend turning around and walking the other way about equal. if you walk a figure eight, which I'll do a little bit of in a second, then it doesn't matter because you're always going to do one counterclockwise and one clockwise. It's great. You can even do it fast and you won't get dizzy. The way to turn around, a simple, easy way to turn around is if you're walking the circle like this and you decide, I want to go the other way, you wait till your next inside step, take your outside foot and make a T. So hook the outside foot towards the circle and commit your weight to it, and the minute your weight is there, just pick the other foot up and turn it out, and then walk the other way, right? So you're walking one way, decide to turn around, T, release, walk, like that. So the first point that I like to follow, or my first target, is that I'm the same distance from that center. The second thing is that the outside foot is doing most of the sort of turning. It's almost like my inside foot wants to leave the circle, but my outside foot says no. My inside foot wants to leave the circle, my outside foot says no. Inside wants to leave, outside says no. When the circle gets smaller, the inside foot does have to circle a little bit, otherwise it'll be kind of weird. But generally speaking, just putting more emphasis on the outside foot is helpful. So your outside foot is doing most of the real circling. And that outside foot is also the foot that you switch to make a direction change, right? So the next thing after same distance from the center and outside foot doing the circle is to focus on that rolling step, so that when I'm walking, I'm rolling my foot on the ground, rolling, rolling, and I'm a little bit in the future. I call it rolling into the future. So if I were to suddenly put the brakes on, I would slowly fall forward because I'm committing my momentum a little bit to the future. I'm not doing this, staying right over my center, there, so that if I stopped, I just come to a perfect stop. I'm not trying to do that. I'm a little bit in the future, but not so much that if I stopped, I'd topple over. I'm not way out there. Just a little bit. There's just a little inclination forward. So again, it's same distance from the center. Outside foot doing most of the circling, right? And then the rolling step, the foot that rolls. So think of like if your foot had ink on it and you wanted to leave a perfect footprint, roll it and pick it up. So you're rolling into the future a little bit. And then the fourth point, or the fourth target, is that I want to feel like I'm surging off my back leg a little bit. I'm surging off the back leg. So it's like I was walking in a stream and I wanted to step for a rock that was just a little bit out of reach. I have to kind of surge to get there. Surge to get to the next one. Surge to get to the next one. It's not this abrupt, but it's this kind of thing. So, same distance from the center. Outside foot does most of the circling. Rolling step into the future. And then the slightly lower stance. And I'm pushing, almost like I'm roller skating. Push, roll, push, roll, push, roll, push, roll. There. And then, the cherry on the sundae, lift the heart right in the middle of your chest, lift your head, the back of your head, and look on the circle that you're walking. So that's just neutral walking in a circle. That's all that is. Neutral walking. I'm rolling my step. I'm just ever so slightly committed to the future because I don't want to hold back my momentum. It's an efficient walk. It moves you forward, but it works your legs. It massages your feet. I'll tighten the circle up a little bit so I'm right around the thing. Or I can expand it out so I can get as big as I can get in this room and still have it be a circle. Right? T step and turn. So same distance, outside foot, rolling step, surge or a little bit of a chicken walk so that you're kind of surging. And like Groucho Marx, you know, would walk a little bit low, so you go a little bit low and then you push and push and push. And then lift your heart and lift the back of your head and like behold what's in front of you. It's sometimes, in some schools they might start with that. So you start with the upright body and then you incorporate the rest. But I really prefer to get the walk going and attend to the really crucial stuff like same distance from the center. That's what makes a circle, right? And the nature of the foot contact with the ground. The inside foot is basically straight, the outside one curves. Inside straight, outside curves. And then the rolling steps, though, so you feel your contact on the ground kind of massaging your foot. And then the going a little bit lower if you can and doing the little surgy part. That's where it gets a little more athletic. And then just lift your heart and add that postural flame to the rest. If you or anybody else wanted to do these things in any different order, I wouldn't bother me at all. This is just the way that works for me. So the chicken step version of that is significantly harder, but you're doing the same thing, but you go step, 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 step. Like a chicken, you pick up your back foot and you push to the next leg and you put on the brakes and pick up that foot. And as this foot's coming up, your momentum is slowly shifting forward. It's still going forward. This is not about stopping on a dime. This is slowing down, falling. You get there and start a slow fall into the next step. Start a slow fall into the next one. And the further away you step, the bigger your step, the harder that is. Because you have to dimmer switch your landing and be right on it. And right on it. And right on it. And I don't recommend that one unless you've had a lot of experience and have really strong, knowledgeable legs. It's really easy to hurt your knees or overdo some of these things if your posture isn't good. But anybody can do the circle walking who can walk. So I have people who are older and balance challenged and have difficulties, and they're loving this stuff because it's something they can do without going into super low stances. And so this is just a great way to get some walking in indoors. So that's just basic neutral walking in a circle. There's also some hand positions you can hold that are, these are some really basic things. One of them is being with your hands out at your sides like this, as though your hands were being pulled away from your body, but your elbows said no. So your elbows and your hands are kind of a little bit at odds with each other. They're kind of struggling a little bit to get away, but it's almost like you had a bungee around your elbows and you stretched it out like that. So you just walk the same circle, the same stuff we did before, same distance from the center, outside foot circling, rolling step, a little bit of a surge to the step, and then lift the heart and lift the eyes and lift the back of the head. There. So you can do that same thing in this position. If you can touch your fingers and your hand, outside palm there and your forearms all the way to your elbows and extend that in front of you, that is lovely. If you can't do that because your elbows won't go that far, then just put your hands where your elbows are. So keep them parallel. If you can do this, great, but this is also great. This movement, this position is sometimes called monkey offers fruit. Now, I saw one Bagua tape once back in the 80s, or maybe it was early 90s, and in this tape they were doing this position, and the subtitle underneath said, "Monk offers fruit." I wish I could find it, because monks do offer fruit, and this is how they offer it. But monkeys have never offered fruit in the history of monkeys. They don't even offer fruit to each other. I call it monk offers fruit. So you can really challenge yourself and make these things point to the inside of the circle while you walk, which is hard because you have to dissociate your hips and your waist. So your hips walk this way and your waist turns this way. And that's a lot to chew on. So what I do to begin with, especially for older people and balance challenge people, is just offer the fruit right in front of you. Just like this, but that way. So you're walking this way. And you don't have to worry about twisting your waist into the center of the circle. You just keep offering fruit to somebody who's walking backwards in the same circle that you're walking. And you're saying, come on, have a banana. And the turnaround is the same. T-step, turn, and you're walking this way. And the same stuff applies. Same distance from the center, outside foot, rolling step, into the future, a little bit of a surge with the step, and then lift your heart, lift your back of your head, so you have that upright spine there. Boom. And then the last one that I like to do is this lifting up the clouds. So it's in front of you a little bit, so it's like you had a piece of plywood on your head or a mattress. You're trying to hold it up. It's not at your sides, but slightly rotated in front a little bit. And again, the elbows and the hands are kind of fighting each other. The hands want to get away, and the elbows want to stay home. So you have this dynamic tension here. So you're walking the circle the same way. Same distance from the center. Outside foot does the circling. Rolling step into the future. And a little bit lower, and a little surge to the step. And lift the heart, and lift the eyes. I mean, lift the eyes if you were looking down, but you lift the back of your head, basically. Right. So, as you're circling, you can go between these three things. You can do this one, and that you're walking the circle, and then you gradually bring it to this one, monk offers fruit, and then gradually bring it to this one, the lifting up the clouds. And then that can go back to the monk, and that can go back to, I think this is hands floating on the water, although it's more dynamic than floating. So you've got that, that, and that while you're walking. That is a bit of a journey. It's also great to just walk with just neutral walking. If you get that little surge going and you feel the balance challenge that this is. And I make it look easy because I've been doing it for a while, but it's not easy. It's really easy to wobble. It's really easy to be unsteady when you walk a circle like that. Any knee pain or any joint pain at all is a signal that you're doing something wrong, and you should slow down or maybe stop, or if you have a teacher, ask them what you can do to better align your joints, because this shouldn't cause knee pain or any joint pain. It should cause some muscle discomfort or some sense of work walking that circle. So now if I want to walk a figure 8, I might have to do a fairly small one here, but I'm walking here, walking in between and around. So when I get to the juncture of the two, I can choose to continue the circle I've been walking, or I can go the other way. I like to just straight walk the figure 8 because I'm going clockwise and then counterclockwise, and then clockwise and then counterclockwise. And that's good, really good for your gait and your step to do that. Like I say, I do it with hula hoops over a fairly bigger space, so I'm covering a lot more ground. But small steps has its different challenges and its own thing. So all the 5 points apply there too. The same distance from the center, outside foot turns in, rolling step into the future, down a little bit with a little surge to the next movement, and then heart up, eyes up. That is one way that you can walk and take a walk indoors. You can take a walk in your office or in your room, your living room or your dining room, anywhere you have a little bit of space. I recommend hula hoops, but a plate or a little teak wood circle there that used to have a cheese dome on it, and I got rid of the dome. I like the circles. So that's one way to do it. Another way that I've been working on a lot these days is something I call foot pulses. And I believe I've done a video on the foot pulses before. But if I haven't, I'll just briefly say I just stand in a neutral posture, which of course includes my horse, hips, heart, head, right? So another way to look at that is sit and lift, right? So I start there in the basic position, but then I come out of the sit, and so I'm just barely bending my knees, and I stiffen my legs. I'm actually contracting all the muscles of my legs to stiffen them up a little bit and firm my core a little bit, and I just shift back and forth like I was riding a subway train, like that. And what I'm doing with my feet is compressing them into the ground. So I'm squishing my feet into the ground, literally pressing there. I'm not letting my knees bear a lot of the springiness of this. I'm just press, 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 press. I'm squishing my foot on the ground. And the reason I'm doing this is theoretical, but walking is very good for your heart. It helps the venous blood get from your feet all the way back to your heart. The arterial blood comes right out of the heart with a strong squeeze of the heart, and the arterial blood goes out there, but it gets to where it goes, and then it has to turn around and come all the way back to the heart. But there's only that one pump at the very beginning of the process. So the second heart is the soles of your feet, and when you walk, you squish the feet and you make muscle contractions in your legs, and that actually literally compresses the venous blood in the veins and makes it squish upwards, because there's little one-way valves in there that only let the blood go one direction. So every time you squeeze, that venous blood keeps moving its way back up. It still has a pulse, but it's not a strong one. If you see blood coming out in a pulse, that's arterial blood. So what this does is it squishes the venous blood and helps it go back up into the legs and back up into the body. That's my theory. So walking is supposed to, people used to walk after dinner for this reason. And taking regular walks is obviously healthy. And one of the reasons, I think, is that it is working that so-called second heart. So this is a way to work your second heart a little bit more aggressively by just pulse, 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 like that. I count fours. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 6, 2, 3, 4, until I get to 50, and that makes 200. But that's just me. You can do these slowly, or you can do them fast. I also do hand squeezes while I do this. So I hold them over my head, but they'll be fists like this, and I'll squeeze at the same time that I shift my weight from foot to foot. So I'm doing hand pulses and foot pulses at the same time. Da, 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 da. It's really good for your nervous system, I think, to just to think about this beat, and just send those coherent signals out there. I think it prevents neurodegeneration, to send strong signals through your muscles. And in this case, they're isometric. It's very hard to hurt yourself here. You're just squeezing your hands and you're just pushing your weight into your feet back and forth. There's no real movement or twisting possibilities. It's just squeezing the extremities and hoping that some more blood gets to the core. And also it's working with your nervous system in a kind of a rhythm. So that's a real benefit of doing that. And I've been doing it for a while now, and my feet do feel better. They feel more alive and more alert and awake. So it's a good way to help your circulation, firm your legs, and if you keep doing this, you can actually get out of breath. I mean, this can be a real workout if you keep doing it. You do 1 minute of that or 2 minutes of that, and believe me, you'll feel that your whole body is engaged doing this. It just isn't showing. It's kind of almost like a full body, medium intensity isometric, back and forth. Now, if you want to simulate running indoors, you can kind of try this, where you shift back and forth on a kind of a spring. So you resist it, resist it, resist it, resist it. So you're kind of bouncing a little bit more. The pulses are more stiff and just letting your feet do all the squishing. This is back and forth. So your thighs have to have a certain amount of strength. They got to catch your weight. And you really want to, you can even hit your heels on the ground when you do this. Or just even do your whole foot if you want to. But it's a way to get back and forth like that. And you can, if you want to throw some chain punches on there on top of it, that's great too. That's just a simple, like an oval, like a chainsaw. You go out to the edge and you bring it back, out to the edge. One goes over the other, not under the other, over the other, right? So you can just shift back and forth as though you were jogging, as though you were running. Boom, 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 boom. So that's a little more aggressive than the foot pulses. But the foot pulses are good, and for your feet, as far as your feet are concerned, I don't think your feet can tell too much about what's going on there, the difference between that and this and walking. This is just taking a lot of quick steps. And this one for sure is very similar to the motion of running and moving. It's not the same exercise, but it's in the vicinity of that. And it's just good for your system. It gets your blood going, gets your heart going. You know, if you're a younger person, this might seem silly, but if you're an older person, this can be really, really nice to do. And we all get old sooner or later, if we're lucky. Depending on how you've taken care of yourself. If you take care of yourself and you get older, you'll feel lucky. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Luck favors the well-prepared. So the benefits of the circle walking, for me, have been like it really helps steady my gait. Just helps steady my walk out in the world. I look around and I see people so obsessed with phones and digital stuff that their ability to walk has really gone downhill. People are sloppy in their joints and they've got no real contact with the ground, and they're looking at this all the time, and their joints are all bound up, and they're in for some real pain later, but they'll have to figure that out. If you see the writing on the wall though, keep the space here, keep the sitting feeling in your hips, keep your heart up, keep the back of your head up, keep your eyes on what's going on around you if you're outside, keep some spring in your feet, and if you want to practice walking indoors, consider walking a circle back and forth and around, and consider the foot pulses, because that's a great way to increase your circulation and get things going down there. And then consider maybe the run in place, which is a little more, you know, a little more pounding, a little more impact into the thighs. So those are 3 ways that I've come up with to go for a walk and stay inside at the same time. Particularly are good, I think, for us older folks who are trying to keep our balance and trying not to fall down, and or at least fall less often. That would, if I have a fall prevention class sometime, I'm going to call it Fall Less Often, because I think we're all bound to fall sooner or later, but let's fall less often. And when we do fall, let's recover our balance as quickly as possible, and if we get hurt, let's heal as fast as possible. And good posture, good circulation, good breathing, good mobility, steady gait, ability to look around while you're walking, is those are all good things. And they will all help you heal from whatever life throws at you. And if they don't, it's still worth doing. Take it easy.